Thanks for joining. This is Movado, and I'm back with another Empyrion video. Today I'm going to do a little damage testing. Reason why is because, when you look at the different blocks, you've got the base CV blocks here, you've got the HV, SV blocks here. Thing that I've always found a little bit confusing is within each block they give the number of hit points, but they also list blast resistance. So 20% blast resistance, 10% blast, 5%. Xeno doesn't list any. On the small blocks, it looks like the blast resistance is actually a little bit higher for the same block. So the steel gets a 10%. Over here it's only a 5. Hardened is a 20. Over here it's only a 10. And then combat gets 30 versus over here it's only 20. Today I'm only damage testing the combat steel blocks. I think it's pretty safe to say you'll see how that scaling of the blast resistance works across them. So I don't know, I won't test them both, but you'll still get a pretty good idea of the different weapons on the CV and the SV, how they're going to impact the different materials, and how much damage you expect them to take. It might also help provide some guidance on which materials to use in your next builds based on what you want to accomplish. So what I have here is a huge wall set up with all these different panels. Pretty obvious, right? You got steel, you got hardened steel, combat steel, and then Xeno Steel. So I'm just going to start with the CV, and I'm going to take one shot at each, and I'm going to go through the rounds. So I'm going to take laser at first, do one shot on laser on each one. This is just going to do barely only a little bit of damage, but the purpose is to see how much damage does it do every time you take a hit here. Alright, I'm going to grab my multi-tool out really quick. And then you saw me take one shot at each. I am going to end up repairing these once we're done. The steel took 34 damage. 34 damage. 34 damage. And 34 damage. So no matter the material, lasers, straight up, there's no blast resistance. So the higher the health points, the better hit points. On the steel, the hit points are 750. Hardened is 1600, so just over double. Combat is 3500, so it's over double the Hardened Steel again, and then Xeno Steel is just 3750. So the difference between combat and Xeno is only 3750, only 250 hit points. So that's important to understand. And also, it's also important to understand that the blast resistances we talked about, that Xeno doesn't have any listed. So we'll get to that, how that influences how much damage it can take. Alright, let's get back in here and let's do some blast damage. I'm going to move up a row because I don't know that I repaired everything on the first row. Here, artillery. Gonna aim right for the center. Shoot that one. Steel. Yep, steel doesn't hold up too well. That's expected. Gotta let this reload here. Hardened steel. Seems to do okay, but it did knock out that center block. And again, I'll go up there and show you firsthand. Combat steel, as expected, does pretty well. Meant for combat. Everything's still there. And then finally, the Xeno Steel. And it's going to make me sit here until reloading is finished because I have to do that by hand from the cockpit seat. So, alright, done reloading the thing. Now let's head out there. Okay, let's look at damage. Xeno Steel. So this is where I was actually surprised when I started looking at some of the numbers. So a Xeno Steel block is at 3750. It has 1660 hit points remaining. It means it took over 2,000 damage. It took 2,090 damage. So 2 shots blows a block out. Sorry, 2 direct shots will blow the block out. And that's kind of what we're going to look at because everything else will kind of scale accordingly. You come over here to combat steel, 1975 out of 3,500. So on this one, you're only losing 1,525 per shot. So that means 2 direct shots will not destroy this block. It's going to take 3 direct shots. So if this one's taking 2 shots, it's definitely blown. This one takes 3 direct shots to blow. So that's 50. I mean, from that regard, 50% more shots from 2 shots to 3 shots. So that's kind of interesting to see. You come over to this combat steel to the next one over. This block took 868, I think, if my math is correct there. This one took just over 1,000. So it is still taking a solid, I guess that's about 20% more damage based on the blast resistance that it's getting. Actually, let me do that math really quick. 2090 on this one. It's actually more than that, versus this one is getting 1525. So it's actually taking almost 33%, actually a little over almost 35% more damage is what you're going to find the Xeno Steel takes from that blast resistance. There's probably other resistances built in there as well, but it's good to know two to destroy Xeno blocks, 3 shots to destroy combat steel. Hardened Steel, obviously 1 shot, and the block next to it would be gone in another shot as well. So that's a decent amount of damage. Actually, this one looks like it took more damage at 410. That's interesting how they don't all take the same. I must not have hit this blocks dead in the center. So this one's down to 410. Destroyed that block. Steel, yeah, haha, don't shoot it. Don't plan to use steel against artillery, because 1 shot and it is gone, as are all of the blocks around it. So that was artillery, manual fire artillery. Okay, let's move on. Next shot we're going to do is the actual turrets. Plasma. Let's do that one. Plasma turrets. Xeno. 1 at combat steel. Wait for it to reload. One more. Alright, there's plasma, and you know what? As long as I'm here, I am just going to do the missile launcher. We'll do cruise missiles last on their own. I'm going to have to move the ship for this. If I can shoot that one. I think I can shoot this. Oh! Not where I was aiming. It shot up there, but that's okay. We got lots of panels to use. I'm going to move and grab this. Come back here. And we're going to shoot that one. Kind of missed a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get the idea when we get up there. And yeah, that one too. And I'm out. And again, that was missiles. So we got plasma and missiles. Plasma, missile, plasma, missile. Let's look at the Xeno Steel. So the plasma shot on the Xeno Steel did 845. That means it would take 5 plasma shots to blow that block. 5. That's important to know. It's 5 blocks. 5 shots. Combat Steel with plasma took 527. So 527, that means it takes 7 shots from a plasma turret to destroy this. So 5 to destroy Xeno, 7 shots to destroy combat steel. Next up, we've got Hardened Steel. Hardened Steel took 575. So this would actually take 3 shots. So it would be 3 shots to destroy with a plasma turret, Hardened Steel, 5 shots for Xeno, 7 shots for combat steel. So you're seeing the pattern here. Explosive damage, combat steel is outperforming. Even though it only starts at 3,500 versus this is at 3,750, those 250 hit points don't actually make a lot of difference when Xeno Steel is getting destroyed in 5, combat steel is getting destroyed in 7 shots. So that's about a 40% increase. So down there we were seeing about a 50% increase in shots. Again, a little skewed. You won't exactly get that maybe exactly in battle because explosion damage, etc. But it's good to see 2 blocks versus, or 2 shots versus 3 down there. Up here, plasma, we're seeing 5 versus 7, so that's pretty big. Regular steel, yeah, it's 2 and it's going to be done. It almost got destroyed the first shot, so steel really isn't super viable, obviously, but good to see you can at least handle 1 explosion. On to the rockets. On to the rockets. All right, missile turrets. The missile turret on Xeno Steel did, and I'm doing this math on my phone here, 640 damage. So it's going to take, divided by 640, 6 shots to destroy Xeno Steel with a missile launcher. Combat Steel did 481, which is 8. Yeah, 5 versus 8. Sorry, did I say 5 on this one? I think that's what I said. Sorry, 6 versus 8. My bad. 6 versus 8. I'm getting the ones confused. So this one is 6. This one is 8. So there you're seeing a 25% increase. So not as big as what we're seeing below. We're seeing consistently about 1 to 2 extra shots across the board. But this one's going from, like I said, 6 shots to take out the Xeno, 8 for the Combat Steel. Hardened Steel, you're getting, 494 damage per shot. So there you're talking 4 shots. 4 shots to destroy a block of Hardened Steel. 6 shots for Xeno, 8 for Combat Steel. Regular Steel, again, it's going to be 2, so not a lot to concern there. So that's pretty interesting. On the side damage, you still do take more damage on the splash damage with missile turrets. Here you took 275 damage, and here it was only actually here was 284. So sorry, 184. Yeah, so 184 versus 275. So you're still taking more damage in the splash damage. Okay, last one, cruise missiles. So this is where some of that splash damage I think is going to change a little bit. 1 second. Alright, so onto the cruise missiles. Sorry about that. Dog was barking at somebody walking by. Here we go. Let's do the same thing. We're going to take 1 cruise missile. And we are going to shoot, as soon as it reloads, 1 at that one. And the ones I'm shooting, I was just looking to see which one has had damage. It was this one down here that got damaged in the crossfire earlier. I'm going to shoot this one here. It's still reloading. I'm going to wait for that to completely reload. And might be able to do the Jeopardy song in between. Actually, I was going to try to move my ship. Do, 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 do. I shouldn't do that. I should probably might get in trouble from Jeopardy for doing their song. Alright, last one on Xeno Steel, cruise missile launcher. And I think this is going to wrap it up for my CV weapons. Really, when you go into the menu, you do have the heavy versions I could test as well. But ultimately, you're going to find the same thing. I already did the laser. Laser is just single block. It's straight up hit points. So Xeno beats it out by a little bit because you got those 250 hit points extras, and that was on the advanced lasers. Heavy missiles, plasmas, artillery. I do have artillery actually on here as well that I'll do. Actually, let me do that right now. Thought I put an artillery on here. Oh, no, never mind, I didn't, because I used the manual fire one. Okay, let's go and check the cruise missiles. What did the damage on the cruise missile do? On the Xeno Steel, a lot of damage. It did 3,100 and 246. I think that comes out to. Yeah, what I said. 3,000. So 2 shots. 2 shots is definitely broken. However, here's where the cruise missiles are a little bit different. The splash damage that you see, and hey, I got +5 Creel. The splash damage you see is a little bit different here. So this first block, 3750 minus 2519 gives you a total splash damage of 1231 on this block. Over here, Combat Steel, it actually took less damage, which you'd expect, but it's still going to get destroyed in 2 shots. So 2 shots, 2 shots, doesn't matter. Technically, from that regard, they are exactly the same. Now, over here, we talked about this next one. It took 1,231 damage. This one right here only took 498 damage. So here's where Combat Steel is really going to help out a lot, is because on the splash side, this one's going to take 8 shots, this block right here, to destroy, where this one's still only at just over 3, maybe 4 shots to destroy. It's probably going to take about 4 shots of splash damage to destroy. So you tend to... The damage, how those distribute their damage in explosions tends to hurt Xeno quite a bit more than I was expecting as I was looking at some of these numbers. So, 3,002 on this one. This one's at 3,394, so 2 blocks over, and you barely took 106 points of damage. For some reason, some of these are not taking damage out at this further section. Actually, maybe it's not supposed to. Yeah, it looks like none of the cruise missiles did damage on the further edges. I know earlier the artillery did, but we weren't really looking at that. So, okay, onto the Hardened Steel. Obviously blows out the block in one shot. This one's almost destroyed itself. Steel, yeah, it kind of looks like Steel did it down there. Huge hole in the Steel from the artillery, huge hole in the Steel from the cruise missiles. So from that regard, cruise missiles kind of do similar to artillery. Artillery blew out the hole there, cruise missile did there. But the cruise missiles do a really, really high amount of single point damage where it hits, and then the splash damage kind of goes around from there, obviously. But that one block is a pretty big amount of damage, so they do a really good job for blowing holes in ships. 2 cruise missiles will destroy any single block, so that's the one thing to keep in mind. All right, that does it for HVs, or sorry, for CVs. On to SVs. So I took my Angel and I overloaded it with all these different weapons. Threw a bunch of CPU extenders on there, just for the sake of this test. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these lasers. So I can't see it. So you've got the gamma, infrared, and what's this one? Ultraviolet. Gamma, infrared, ultraviolet. I'm going to put all those in the same panel since they're all single block damage. Plasma cannons, laser cannons, bomb launchers. I need to get a rocket launcher on here, actually. Yep. Put that on there really quick. Yeah, look at all those weapons. And now I need some 115, I think, yep. Okay, here we go. Starting at the top. I'm going to try to do one shot of each. Oh, I think yep, that should be fine. Okay, now I'm on to the next one. And this other one. I should have done those further apart, but that's fine. And, okay, so that was gamma. Let me look at the, yeah, alright. It was the gamma, infrared, then ultraviolet. Let's look at the damage of these. So the first shot was the gamma. That one did 16? Yeah, 16 damage. 16 damage. I shot twice on this one. Each panel took 16 damage. 16 damage here, and again 16 damage here. So all those gamma laser shots did the same amount of damage. So in regards to how well the different blocks are going to hold up, Xeno is going to be king at that 3750 versus 3500 health points. On to the next one we shot right here. This one took 33 damage. This one took 33 damage. This one took 33 damage, and surprise, surprise, this one took 33 damage. Okay, so it looks like all those lasers are not affected by any of the resistances. That's what I was expecting to see, and that's what we are seeing. The last one was, whatever laser that was, took 44 damage. 44 damage. Yeah, they're all 44 damage as expected. So it looks like from a block perspective, Xeno's going to be the best one for how long it's going to withstand shots. Okay, moving on to the next shots. We have plasma. That did a pretty pattern, interesting pattern. The damage patterns are interesting on these. And last one. Okay. So interestingly, I actually don't know, the damage did hit everything. It just looked different from where I was standing. Okay. Let's look at the center block. Let's start at Xeno. How much damage did it take? This one took 143 damage. This one took 89. So 3750 divided by 143. So that means the Xeno Steel is going to take 27 shots to destroy. 27 shots. This one's going to take 40 shots. So that's like a 50% increase in damage in the number of shots. So that's a lot more that the Combat Steel can absorb compared to the Xeno Steel. Hardened Steel took 96. So that means you're at 17 shots to destroy. So 17, 26, and then 40. Maybe it's 27, whatever it was in that mid-20 range. And then regular steel, obviously, it's going to do worse. Doesn't have as much hit points. Takeover, it's going to take 112 damage, which is 7 shots. 7 shots to destroy that. So not a lot there in the plasma. So interesting to see with the SV. Combat Steel is 50% more can absorb that much more damage. 25, 27, whatever that was, 240. Big difference. Okay, moving on to the next weapon. I'm not going to do the laser just because we already kind of did the laser. And we found it was all single straight up hit points. Let's see, we got rockets, we got bombs, we got torpedoes. I'm just going to give it a run with and just see. I don't know if I can even hit it with these torpedoes. We'll see. All right, let's see if I can hit. I'm going to go for the Xeno Steel. Well, that was pretty cool. All right, let's see how let's see how this one does. Which one is this? This is the torpedo launcher. Yeah. Okay, so it just completely wrecked the Xeno. Wow. Alright, we're not going to look at Hardened Steel. I think that's good enough. Actually, no, I'm going to look at Hardened Steel. I changed my mind. That's pretty interesting. Alright, last one. Come on, give it to me. There we go. Hey, I almost was able to fly through that hole. Alright, so Hardened Steel, Xeno Steel seem to perform the same against the torpedoes, but Combat Steel actually seemed to do pretty well. As soon as I can get out of this cockpit, I'll take a look. Steel is probably just going to completely vaporize. It already took some damage from the Hardened Steel explosion. Okay, 92. Okay, so it did almost completely destroy the block at impact. These other ones around it would be a splash damage shot from being destroyed. They all took over 3,000 damage. But it is interesting because it does take 2 torpedoes to destroy 1 Combat Steel block versus 1 on the Xeno, so that's pretty significant. You're still seeing Combat Steel's holding up better. Alright, what is this one? This is the bomb launcher. I got another roll here somewhere. Yeah. Let's look at the bomb launcher. Probably going to see the same thing. It's going to take a couple more to take out the Xeno, or the combat than the Xeno, but hey, I like flying stuff and blowing shit up, so let's do this. Oh. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Interesting, you can outrun your bombs. Alright. And last one. Alright, hey, Hardened Steel actually didn't evaporate. Okay, let's take a look at the damage. Over to the Xeno. Xeno took 3750 minus 2525 is 1,225 damage. That means it's 4 shots. So 3 shots doesn't quite break it. So 3 shots would leave it with like 75 hit points left. So it's 4 shots. 4 shots to on a direct impact to break a Xeno Steel block with a bomb launcher. On the combat steel, you're talking about 795 total damage per shot. That means you need 5. So 4 shots to blow up the Xeno, 5 to do the combat steel, a little bit more, actually not quite as different as I was expecting. I thought we'd see 2 shots difference, only 1 shot difference, but because you're right at the edges of what it takes here. So 4 shots to blow up Xeno, 5 shots to blow up combat steel. Over here it's going to be 2. This is an easy one. It's less than half. We got less than half the hit points left. I can do that one in my head. 2 shots. 2 shots to destroy this. So 2, 4, 5. So that's kind of the verdict there. Okay. I think that's kind of it for weapons. I mean, rocket launcher, I think we know what we're going to see. So, kind of recap, what we're seeing is pretty consistent from a damage perspective. Combat steel is generally able to handle more explosive damage. So your rocket launchers, your plasmas, artillery, cruise missiles, torpedoes, bombs, all that explosive stuff, on a number of rounds per minute basis, combat steel does better. It's going to last longer. It's going to take more shots to destroy each block on your ship as compared to any other block in the game. Next up, obviously, Xeno Steel. Xeno Steel simply because it has the hit points. It's got the most hit points out of everything. So where Xeno Steel is going to really come through is if it's your single block damage. I did not test Railguns. I don't know if I have one on here somewhere. I think I actually might. Maybe I took it off. Railguns are going to be like lasers. Actually, as long as I'm talking about them, let me pull that out really quick. This will be a quick one to test. Get my ammo, get it over there, and then I'm going to shoot. It looks like this one, that block, and that's all I need to do for now, because we know how Hardened Steel is going to do. Okay, Railgun, that one did 768 damage. That one did almost 800. Oh, almost 800. Sorry, 768 damage. They both did 768 damage. So it's a 1-for-1. Any of your single shot damage points, so railguns and lasers, Gatling guns, cannons. There might be other beam lasers if you play Reforged. Whatever those weapons are that do single block damage, Xeno Steel is going to hold out a little bit longer because it's got that extra 250 hit points. But the real advantage of Xeno in that situation is that it's lighter. So from a weight perspective, 2.8 tons versus 3.8 tons, it's a full ton lighter, which saves you a lot of weight. From a weight perspective, 1 ton per block. If you got thousands of blocks, like here, you come down to Soul Siphon here. This thing has 5,000 Xeno Steel blocks, a bunch of carbon composite inside for the interior, but all the exterior is Xeno at 5,000. That would be 5 extra kilotons to have all combat steel. So 5 kilotons would be a lot of extra weight on a ship that only weighs 17 kilotons to begin with. You'd be adding almost 30% weight to the ship by using combat steel. But if you don't care about the agility, pound for pound, you want combat steel. And there's probably an argument to be made to having a little bit of a weave of combat steel and Xeno Steel. Maybe a honeycomb, maybe get different layers of the two mixed in there. That's something to consider as well, because if you do start to get those single shots like lasers and whatnot, those are going to, Xeno will hold up better, it appears. So, all right. Well, that's all I got for today. I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, please do let me know. If you like what you see, again, please do like and subscribe. Thanks again for joining, and take care. See you next time.